Yossi,
Okay,
please.
it's a great pleasure to be here. Our title, as you see, is Birds a Peacemaker, and we believe that the dove of peace failed. The barn did a much better job. So as we already introduced, the three of us, Jordan, Israel, and Switzerland, General Mansour was the key person on the peace treaty with Jordan and Israel in 1994, and Alex is from Switzerland, a neutral country, and he is basically ambassador for peace in the entire Middle East, okay? But today, before we start the story of the barn house, I want to tell you a crazy story about, people are talking, if someone is an idiot or a small brain, you said bird brain, and we take it personally, because the birds many times are doing a much better job than we are doing. For example, this bird that you see on the screen is called the chiffchaff. It's a bird of 7 grams with a brain less than a quarter gram. And this bird knows to go from Europe to Africa to the same spot, topic navigation, okay? And they are going for long distances. So when we are talking in the Middle East on migration, there are 3 points. The timing, we found out in our studies, they come every year like Germans in the same day. They come to the Middle East and then they go to Africa. How do they do it? They are very sensitive to the length of the day. They are also had the ability of navigation, which I'll show you in the center. You see, here we have the Arctic tern. They move huge distances. The Arctic tern is a bird which moves from the northern pole to the southern pole, and then in the spring all the way back. So every year for 20 years, she got around the entire globe, 42,000 kilometers every year, okay? So in the Middle East, for talking on politics, disaster. But talking on bird migration, one of the hotspots in the world, we know that 1 billion birds fly over Israel in the spring and autumn migration, okay? So we started to follow German storks, 120 storks. We put on their back a GPS, and then now every 8 seconds we can know where is the stork on the entire globe. Angela Merkel, when she was the Minister of Umwelt, she gave us 1.5 million euro to study the migration of the German storks. And to make it a global story, we gave them Jewish name, Christian name, and Muslim names. And what we found out, and that one stork, her name is Princessa, she was flying every year from a tree near Berlin through the Middle East up to Cape Town, 11,000 kilometers. She was wintering on the same tree in Cape Town. And she did it year after year. To come here to the meeting, we have to use Waze. They don't need Waze. They're doing it much better than we are doing it, okay? Another bird which I want to tell you, which a friend from Netherlands, it's called godwit. This bird is nesting in Siberia, okay? And the bird is moving from Siberia to New Zealand over the ocean. He put also GPS on the godwit, and what we found out was crazy. This bird is migrating 11 days, 24 hours a day, 50 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine? She makes 24 marathons every day without feeding because she accumulates fat. And here you can see the GPS from Siberia to Australia and New Zealand. They stay all the winter and then fly back. They stop at the Yellow Sea in China, which is very important for conservation, and then they go back home, okay? And we are using now huge and new facilities. For example, we have online cameras in nest of birds of prey. We put on a griffon vulture in our desert, and we found out with the camera that the male was electrocuted. So what we did, unfortunately because of the war, everyone is talking on drones. We brought a drone because the female by herself cannot raise the chick without her husband. So twice a week, we brought the chick a steak of 400 grams. And just again, a brain of a bird. After 1 week, he learned that when he hears the drone, immediately stand up and see where is my lunch. So you see, they are smart, okay? And last and not least, we have in the Rift Valley, it's 40 Celsius degrees, and we put camera on a nest of white storks. And what we found out, next slide, that in Israel, because it's hot, like in Jordan on the Rift Valley, the female is all the time moving with the sun to shade the 2 chicks. Then the male is bringing water, giving the chicks water, which not doing in Europe. Then go again and put water on the chicks. And the third time, next slide, he collects straw, put the straw in the water and put wet straw around the chicks to have them a cool, serious fun. And this was exactly what the settlers 80 years ago did in Kibbutz Tiratzvi. On the windows, they put wet straw, so the bird made the same solution that the people did. Okay, so we brought there many kids and thousands of people, a lot of education. I was very proud to bring a group of nuns because the storks are black and white and the nuns are black and white. So we made some contacts, okay? And last but not least, swifts. You know, the swifts are nesting in the western wall of Israel on the holiest place for the Jews, 80 between the stones. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. And what we found out, when they jump from the nest, the swifts, for 3 years they never land. They eat on wing small insects. They drink on wing by taking a sip, and they even mate on wing. Can you remember? It's not easy to mate on wing, and they do it. And what also we found out with the swift, they sleep on wing. And it was found out in the last 10 years that when they are sleeping on wing high in the air, half of the brain is going to sleep with one eye, and then after midnight, the other half of the brain with the second eye. If you are here tired, some people are closing eyes, always together. Swift with one eye. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. So the message to take home for my part, and I go to the Professor Roulin, always think out of the box and where you can make it. But if you want to run fast, run alone. If you want to run far, run together. And that we're doing here. We are trying to get people together, and then you can even fish from a highway. But you have to focus on what you are doing. This I took in South Africa. Our public bar is presently not open because it is closed, manager. Very simple message for the people. Thank you very much for listening. Alex,
thank you, Yossi. It's not easy to follow Yossi, as you can imagine. Okay, I'm a Swiss person, and I joined these two gentlemen 15 years ago. I was tall, shy, in front with these guys, and I fell in love with the Middle East. But today I will not talk about peace. This will be General Mansour Abu Rashid. I will just mention the goals we have: scientific research, education. This is more or less what Yossi said before. And our goal is started with conservation and sustainability, and then to bring people together using science. This is what we call scientific diplomacy. Thus today, with my friends here, this was in Switzerland, we gave a talk with the former chief of staff who joined us to talk about peace using birds. But today I will just show you a few results about the barn owl. We use the barn owl to bring Palestinians, Israeli, and Jordanians at the same table. And we go soon in Greece in 2 days, where we will be 13 countries, including Germany, Ukraine, Greece, Cyprus, etc. Okay, I fell in love not only with the Middle East, but also with the barn owl 40 years ago. It's a long time, when I was a teenager. And I just give you a few samples of studies. I was totally obsessed by this bird because you can see this is like us, not like me because I don't have hair anymore, but blonde people, black or red people as well, and black hair people. And I wanted to understand what is the function of this variation, to be white or to be reddish. I could imagine that it could play a role in predator-prey interaction, so that to be cryptic at night. Like camouflage, if you are working in your enterprise, I recommend to use this strategy to have a longer break. But I realized when you go out at night on the full moon, when you see a barn owl, it's like a star flying in the air. And my intuition, I was thinking, okay, the barn owl, the rodents should be scared by the white barn owl because we should see them a long time before they arrive, like a ghost. But in fact, this is exactly the opposite. This is one of the most fascinating results I found during my career, is that when there is no light, the prey, the rodents, the voles, they panic and they stay immobile because they don't want to be captured. And they stay immobile for 9 seconds. When you have the full moon, the barn owl is very visible, and in fact, the prey panic twice as long, which gives more time. Thus, they found the trick to make them panic, and they panic and they stay longer and they can capture. And this is the only single nocturnal predator which is white in the world. Let's talk about the social life. This is why I have this wonderful T-shirt. You know, the barn owl is like us. I wrote a book recently, Ma vie de chouette. And this is what I'm telling you here now. Okay, the picture is not politically correct, but what I want to say here is that birds are socially monogamous, mammals are polygynous. Thus, more than one mate. Thus, my question was whether the owls have lovers. They have lovers, but it is not so successful. Only 2% of the chicks are sired by the postman, if you want, and not the real father. And the barn owls are like Swiss people. 25% of the people divorce every year, and the barn owl the same, 25%. And you see there are birds like albatross, they stay faithful all life long. And some birds, like the flamingo, they are never happy, they change every year. Like here, the barn owl, you can see, we call this female Elizabeth Jr. She fell in love with Donald in 2006, 2007 with Bill. He was not so good, Bill. She changed, she found George Jr., 2008. And then she moved again with Ronald, 2009. And then, surprise, surprise, she stayed 2 years with John. And then she moved to Jimmy. I gave these names because I gave a talk in Chicago, and I thought I should pay respect to the president. But we did not yet succeed to beat the record, 8 husbands with Elizabeth Mather. But we're still working on the topic. Why barn owls divorce? Usually that's when we fail to raise our kids successfully. And of course, it's easier to say this is your fault, it's not mine. Thus they change partner to restore reproductive success. This is exactly what they do. And like here, this was in the Middle East, like the Bedouins, many kids, polygynous, and this was one male with 2 females, and they raised 19 chicks, amazing. Why do they divorce? 2 possibilities, to find a better partner or a compatible partner. And this is exactly what the barn owls do. The goal is not to divorce, this is to find the right partner. And when they find the right partner, they stay together. Because, you can see here, the longer they stay together, the more efficient they are to raise kids. They start to lay even earlier every year. Thus, they get used to, and they can coordinate better. But they can do this only when we find the right partner. Thus, somehow morale is safe. But there is always a dilemma somewhere. We put GPS, like Yossi with the storks, and we wanted to know what they do at night, because you know it's a nocturnal predator. We don't see nothing. It's a mystery. We put the GPS, and when we got the GPS back, say, wow, what are they doing? What the females are doing, by the way, not the males. Why this? Because the barn owls, the male feed the chicks. 2/3 of the prey are brought by the male, 1/3 by the female. And when the male is working, this is like in white, the female in pink, she is looking for another male to produce a second brood. And she is just, you know, this was in Switzerland, the canton Protestant and a Catholic female barn owl. And she was just looking for males while the male was working very hard. And here, this is a nice example. This was the very first GPS we put. I say, wow, what the female is doing. We captured the male back, and what we found, the male had 2 females at the same time. Like here, you can see 2 nest boxes. And the last case, I was born in Payerne, and in one night, one female flew 50 kilometers, and she came very close to my office in Lausanne, in a discotheque, 3 days, 3 nights, and she came back home in Payerne 3 days later, and the male had no idea what she did during these 3 days and 3 nights. As you see, they have a very, very complex life. I could tell about this life for ages, but I prefer to give the stage to my friend, General Mansour Abu Rashid, who will talk about the project we run in the Middle East, the Owls for Peace. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with this lovely gathering. I am not a professor. I am not a scientist, biological science like my 2 friends. I was in the army. I appointed by the late King Hussein as a senior security officer to negotiate with the Israelis about the border and about security arrangement through the negotiations. In 1994, we signed the peace agreement with the Israelis. It was in October 1994. And you can see here in the picture King Hussein and the other leaders, and my picture here in this circle. And in negotiation, we established 28 committees to run the relationship between Jordan and Israel. And Mr. Yossi Vardi, he was the head of the Economic and Industrial Committee in the talks. And we also signed an agreement for environment, how we can work together in environment. As you know, Jordan and Israel, they shared in around 450 kilometers together. And if we don't cooperate together in environmental issues, I think the two countries will suffer a lot. And we're starting in Barn Owl's project. It was happened in 2002 when I visited Israel to participate in a conference. I met Professor Yossi Leshem, and he talked about using barn owls as a pesticide control in the fields. And he talked about the barn owl. Barn owls in our traditions, and in the Arab tradition and Muslim traditions, it's a bad luck. But fortunately, Prophet Muhammad, he says a lot of things about the benefit of using the barn owls in the farm. And he told me, Mansour, let's talk about using barn owls with the farmers in the Jordan Valley. I told him, Yossi, are you crazy? I cannot do with that. This is a bad luck, especially with the farmers. How I can do that? He said, okay, no problem. Give me just 1 hour to show you and your friend what is the benefit of the barn owls in the field. He took me to the box and he showed me the barn owls, and he explained what is the benefit of the barn owls using in the field. And then we go to the field again and again. And I told him, look, my friend, I convinced with the project, but I think it will take us a long time to convince the people in the Jordan Valley. Maybe we need a lot of tools, articles, awareness, education, and we started to do that. We published a lot of articles, posters, and also we're using the imam, the sheikh, the imam, on Friday speech to convince the people who go to pray there every Friday what is the benefit to using the barn owls in your field. As you see the border here, we build boxes. Now we have around 250 boxes on the Jordanian side. It goes from north of Dead Sea until the Syrian, Jordanian, Israeli border. And you can see here in this picture, Jordanian, Palestinian, and Israelis behind the picture. Here, one of the farmers from Israel, he's offered to the participants dates. As you know, Jordan Valley, it's rich in dates. He offered him. And one day, the head of the Knesset, he asked me to go to the Knesset and to give a lecture for the people there, what kind of cooperation we have between Jordan and Israel. I invited also by Yossi Leshem. We go there and we talk about the benefit of the barn owls. And then we need also international support. We go to Davos 2 times to speak about what is the benefit of the using barn owls. For me, is not the barn owls. Bring people together. Those people who fought and they kill each other, we need to educate him. What is the benefit of the peace treaty. What is the fruitful of the peace treaty between the Israelis and the Jordan? We succeed to bring thousands of people, students from schools, from university, from NGOs, from also the governmental people. They came every time to our workshop, to our meeting, to understand what is the benefit of the peace treaty between. We fought a lot, and now we need to have a peace between Jordan and Israel. And also we visit the Switzerland. This is the president of the Switzerland. And next week, we are going to Greece to have an international conference. We started 2 countries, Jordan and Israel, but now we have 13 partners in our project. Here, one of the visit of the Pope to talk with him about the barn owls and about bring people together from many religions, Muslims, Jew, and also a Christian. We succeed to bring people together. And can you imagine one barn owl? He can eat from 4,000 to 6,000 rodents. Imagine if you have 10 barn owls in your field or on your farm. You didn't need to use the pesticide anymore. As you know, the pesticide is poison the life of the people, life of animals, and life of the fruits and organs. And you see here the flags of our people who are coming next week to meet in Greece, talking about the barn owls and how we can also stretch our colleague to be more and more countries to talk with us and to also to join our efforts to have a peace, not just between the Israelis and the Arabs, also between all the people in this world. Thank you for listening.
You have to know that General Mansour is now the best ornithologist between all the generals, and the best general between the ornithologists.
Thank you very much.